Hello, kids. It's been a while and it's been a crazy roller coaster ride. Oh, sorry about my vacuum. It's sitting right there. I'll move that next time. Anyway, I'd like to say hello to all of you. I know you have missed my voice. Not. But I've read this book before. It's called Hip Hip Hooray for Annie McRae. And you know, sometimes when you go, what about me? What about me? And I say, remember, hip, hip, hooray for Annie McRae. That means sometimes you have to cheer for yourself. So I hope everybody out there is safe, healthy, and enjoying being with their family. This book is by Brad Wilcox. Illustrations by Julie Olson. Howdy, Mom, called 8-year-old Annie McRae as she threw off her covers and jumped out of bed. Howdy, Chestnut, she said to her stuffed horse. Mom smiled from the doorway while Annie carried Chestnut to his favorite spot by the window so she could make her bed. I love the way you take care of your room, said Mom. And then she cheered as she always did. Hip, hip, hooray for Annie McRae. That put an extra spring in Annie's step as she dressed and danced her way to the kitchen, clinging together the heels of her turquoise blue cowboy boots every few steps. I'd like to have boots like that. Sorry, I'm peeking around the book. I just want to make sure it's being seen. Howdy, Dad! Annie belted out as she searched through the cereal boxes to find her favorite. She had Pony Pops, Nourios, Fruity Flakes, Wheat Squares, Raisin Nuts, and looks like Toasty Tarts. Good morning, Dad smiled over the wall of boxes Annie was building on the counter. What kind of day is it going to be? He asked playfully. It's going to be a rip-roaring, corn-cracking day, Annie responded. She poured herself a bowl of cereal and didn't spill a drop of milk. I love the way you're so careful, said Dad, and then he cheered as he always did. Hip, hip, hooray for Annie McRae. That put an extra sparkle in Annie's smile as she grabbed her backpack and twirled out the door on her way to school. Not for us right now. Howdy, Mr. Garcia, Annie shouted as she bounded through the doorway of room 118. May I hold the pointer during Big Book today? Absolutely. I love the way you volunteer, said Mr. Garcia, and then he cheered as he always did. Hip, hip, hooray for Annie McRae. That put an extra zing in Annie's swing as she sashayed her way to the closest to hang up her backpack. It's really room 14, but I changed it to ours. Grandma, see? Annie whooped as she arrived home from school and sat down by the piano. I hope you're in the mood for a concert. Annie slid forward on the edge of the bench so her boot couldn't reach the loud pedal. Oh, no, that's not right. So her boot could reach the loud pedal. I love the way you practice piano without even being asked, said Grandma C, and then she cheered, as she always did. Hip, hip, hooray for Annie McRae. That put an extra forte in Annie's fingers as her hands do-si-doed across the keyboard. And that's about how things went every day until one morning When Annie woke up, she moved Chestnut to the window, made her bed, and hollered, "Howdy, Mom!" But Mom was in the shower and didn't say a word. Annie put on her turquoise blue cowboy boots, but she didn't click her heels. Uh-oh, nobody's there to hip hip hooray her. Tell her what a great job she's doing. In the kitchen, Annie crunched her last bit of cereal and put away the milk without spilling. "Howdy, Dad," she called. But Dad was working at the computer and didn't say a word. Annie tried again. "I think it's going to be a trail-blazing, whip-snapping day." But Dad didn't say a word. Annie kicked the screen door open with her boot and slumped off to Westward H. Clark Elementary School. She's not real happy right now because nobody's telling her she's doing a good job. "Howdy, Mr. Garcia," Annie yelled. "May I do snap and clap during word wall?" But Mr. Garcia was meeting with Whitney's mom and didn't say a word. Annie dragged her boots across the floor and slouched towards the closet to hang up her backpack. Man, so far this day's a little non-eventful. Sorry, I keep peeking around still. I want to make sure it's kind of there so you can see it. "Howdy, Grandma C," Annie bellowed after school as she sank down on the piano bench and banged the keys. But Grandma C was taking a nap. She didn't say a word. No one cheered hip hip hooray for Annie McRae the whole mixed up day. Annie drooped outside to the back porch swing, kicked off her turquoise blue boots, which I want, hugged her knees, and cried till her nose ran. That's gross. I guess Grandma C's still sleeping. The following morning, Annie made her bed as usual and looked around for her mom. When she didn't see her, Annie picked up Chestnut and moved his mouth open and close while she cheered to herself. Hip hip hooray for Annie McRae. Then she put on her turquoise blue boots, I still want those, and clicked her heels. So she's going to make a difference. I even like her cowboy outfit, cowgirl outfit. At breakfast, Dad had already left for work, but Annie was still careful. As she put the milk away in the fridge, she made a deep voice like her father's and cheered, "Hip hip hooray for Annie McRae." That put an extra hip in Annie's hop as she headed off to school. Here she goes. I think I did better that time. I'm not peeking around. Oh my goodness. Some of you might still remember this book. Mr. Garcia was gone to a workshop. But Annie still volunteered to help in class. Inside her mind, she cheered, "Hip hip hooray for Annie McRae." That put an extra zip in Annie's skip as she hurried home, clicking her heels together every few steps. "Howdy, Mom C," or Grandma C, Annie called as she sat down to practice piano. But Grandma C, she didn't have her hearing aids in, so Annie just smiled to herself. You couldn't hear. She didn't see Grandma C to cheer for her because she couldn't hear. She didn't need Mom or Dad or Mr. Garcia to cheer for her either. The only one who needed to cheer for Annie was Annie. And with that, she threw back her head and hollered, "Hip hip hooray for Annie McRae." "What?" asked Grandma C. "What'd you say?" Oh, nothing, Grandma C. Grandma, how was your day? The end. Now, just remember, boys and girls, every day somebody's not going to be telling you what a great job you're doing, but you can always cheer for yourselves. And we have to do that sometimes for a few days. But just remember, if you're doing your best, that's good enough. Now, Brad Wilcox, I met him. He's the one who wrote this book and another one that I'll read later. And he discussed about it. His daughter, I believe, he was using her name and it didn't rhyme correctly. And so there had to be a change in that. This book went through so many edits. It was a couple years, it seems like, with his editors helping him write this book. And you think, oh, it's just a picture book, how hard can it be? Maybe I can just do that tonight or tomorrow and send it in. It goes through a lot of steps. That's why when we do our writing, we write a sloppy copy and then you look at it and read it again. Maybe a peer in the classroom, buddy, maybe me, and then you rewrite it. Because sometimes when I say, oh, you need to rewrite this, here are some corrections. Do you agree with them or do you not agree with them? And I hear, oh, do I got to write it for the third time? Yep, you do. Because we're going to get ours done in a quarter. But if you want to become a writer or illustrator, it's going to take longer than 3 months. So it has been nice talking to you all tonight. And I hope that you can hang in there with me while we try to work out glitches in online learning or whatever you're seen to be working on. There's a lot out there that's been put on the Google Classroom and on Class Dojo. And us at our end, we're getting the same thing. It's coming down from the superintendent, then it's going to the principals, and the principals, it's coming down to us. And so we're trying to work and scramble as hard as we can to make this work. And I appreciate you being patient. If you have packets, if there's something you don't understand, highlight it, circle it, just like it was a homework page. If it's a problem online, it asks a code, and there really shouldn't be a code, but just let me know. Skip that one. Go to the next activity. And then when you turn in your work on Fridays, even if you're doing online, all you got to do, don't forget your name, please. No name, no fame. And just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the things that you did. And then you can write down, I wasn't able to do this because of this. And that will help me every day to go back and look in to see if I can fix or, troubleshoot and fix these problems. But there's plenty out there in Wonders and on my Google Classroom. And if you choose the packets too, there's plenty. There's plenty out there, and I have no doubt in my mind that each and every one of you will do your very best. So, again, thank you for spending a little bit of time with me, and I'll see you later.